Good evening, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the NGS headline because at the time of this recording, it just ended, and the TLDR is it's above average. So to nobody's surprise, the very first thing I want to talk about is, of course, the Touhou Collaboration, as that is going to be the main attraction, as I know a lot of players do like Touhou. Now, as for the featured characters, it's going to be Reimu, as well as Marisa and Flandre, so those are the three featured characters. Unfortunately, Sakuya is not featured here. I was low-key hoping that Sakuya would be featured, but she's not. But nevertheless, this collaboration does look really awesome. There are a lot of items that will be available in this scratch. However, more importantly is the Bad Apple Music CD is the item that is locked behind the scratch count bonus, which requires you to spend like $80 to get it. So I don't feel as bad, simply because the Bad Apple Music, you can literally listen it like anywhere, like Spotify, YouTube, whatever. And the majority of players that I know kind of listen to their own music while playing NGS anyway. So I'm happy that they locked the music CD behind the scratch count bonus and not the mag forms, because there is the really mean mag form over here where yeah, you just have to see it for yourself. You can see it in the B-roll right now. Basically, this mag form over here is meme worthy, and I'm definitely going to be picking it up because it just looks ridiculous and looks really funny. However, I do understand that a lot of people play this game not just for the collaborations, so you know, you guys care about the actual content. So what new things are actually being introduced into the game? The very first thing is, of course, new weapons. I was very surprised to see them introduce new weapons so quickly, because we literally just had Crest and Juvlog like not too long ago, and then we were literally scrambling to upgrade our armors last month. But yeah, they're introducing two new weapons. They're actually introducing the new Legend 2 weapons called the Lay-End weapons. Now, these weapons will not be as powerful as the other 13-star rarity weapon, which is called the Volgan weapon series. The Volgan weapon series, you can just upgrade. You upgrade your Juvlog weapons into the Volgan weapons, and they will probably be the strongest weapon that you can get right now. I do not know stats or anything, as they didn't show it on the live stream. However, I am assuming that it will be superior to the current Crest weapons, as the Crest weapons just have 5 attack power higher than the Juvlog, and I think that the Volgans are probably going to give you a little bit more attack power, but the weapon potential, you know, the Crest weapon does have a pretty good weapon potential, so it might edge over, or it might be at the same power level. I'm not entirely sure. However, the new Legend 2 weapons, on the other hand, or the lay-in weapons, they're definitely going to be weaker than the Volgan weapons, but they do offer a very interesting weapon potential where it weakens the enemy. And the great thing about this is it doesn't have an internal cooldown. It automatically refreshes once you continuously hit the enemy. So you basically have 100% uptime. So these new weapons, or the new legend weapons, would be really good to have, especially if you're playing like a ranger or techer, as you are supporting the team by increasing the team's attack power with shift D-band, and then with the ranger, you're applying your blight rounds or your weak bullets. And then if you have this weapon on top of that, it weakens the enemy so that it deals less damage to your entire team, but it also increases your damage against said enemy. So there is a lot of utility based behind this weapon. And on top of all of this, in the operation report, they also did say that there will be an upgrade path for these new Legend 2 weapons in December, where they'll be upgraded to Legend 3 weapons, I'm assuming. But nevertheless, it does seem pretty interesting that they're giving us 2 different weapon types, or potentially 3 if you still include the Crest weapons. So, you know, there's a lot of different choices of weapons that you can choose from. And to add on to all of this customizability, they're actually introducing 2 new EX augments. So there is EX Pain Provoke as well as EX Evade Onslaught. So Pain Provoke is pretty interesting in the sense that you actually gain an additional 1.5% potency for 20 seconds when you take more than 9% of your maximum HP as damage. However, after the duration ends, or after the 20 seconds, you actually recover 10% of your maximum HP. So this is really interesting, especially if you are using a specific build where you're constantly losing HP and gaining it back up, because if you're able to get a 100% uptime with this EX augment, it actually gives you 7% potency increase, which is pretty insane. Now the other one, which is Evade Onslaught, this one actually gives you a total of 8% potency increase if you can get it at 100% uptime. However, you need to constantly negate an attack with a sidestep or a weapon action, and if you take any damage, you actually lose the bonus. So it is pretty interesting. It's a very high risk, high reward type of thing, but the potency increase is pretty substantial. So that is pretty nice that they are introducing more EX augments in order to, you know, make unique builds as well as unique playstyles. Now, while we're on the topic of gameplay changes or customizability, they've also made some big changes to the Waker class. So the Waker class is getting a pretty massive update. However, what surprised us is it's not only just the Waker, we are also getting updates to the Fighter as well as the Gunner. Now, the Fighter and Gunner are not getting like full overhauls like, you know, what we had with the Braver previously, but they are getting some fine tuning basically in the damage department to make both classes a little bit more viable, to make them a little bit more attractive to more people, as these two classes have been lacking on damage a little bit. However, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be very happy with the new changes for the Waker, as the Waker is the main highlight in the class balancing or the class updates this month. So definitely give the Waker a try if you're interested at all. Now, for all of my friends who are very lazy like myself and didn't really want to farm the LTQ to make your new armors, do not worry, the Great Rappy is now available in the Ultra Realm. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably rolling your eyes going like, okay, what does this have to do with the new armors? The Great Rappy in the Ultra Realm will now drop Joinia capsules as well as Prograde Vances, which you're going to need to upgrade your Prograde armors into your SQ armors. So that is something that's really nice. So if you're like me and you're just like, oh my god, I hate farming the LTQ, I don't want to touch the LTQ, you can just farm it in the Ultra Realm. However, what's even more attractive about the Great Rappies is the Great Rappies will now drop beta reactors. It used to drop alpha reactors, however, they've changed it because they've noticed inflation's been happening. Beta reactors now give us 100,000 Meseta instead of the alpha reactors, which only gave us 3,500. So yeah, basically a lot of people are going to spend a lot of time in the Ultra Realm, and this is fantastic news for a lot of my new and returning players, or even veteran players to be honest, because the Ultra Realm drops all of your best in slot augments. So your Grand Gladius Soul, your Lux Halfinale, your Gland Gigas Masses, your Grand Dreadkeeper 2, your Giga Triels. Remember, these are not LC augments. These are the full big boy augments, all right? So literally just farm in Ultra Realm. You're going to be making a ton of Meseta. You're going to get all the materials in order to upgrade your armors, and you're also going to get all of these endgame augments, which you can put onto your gear in order to gain that 474 potency or even greater potentially. This is really, really good for everyone because the time to reward investment in Ultra Realm is actually really, really good. And popping that extra rare drop rate does seem to make a difference in the Ultra Realm specifically because of the augments. You know, most of these augments are quote unquote common drops anyway. So by boosting up your rare drop rate and farming there, you're actually going to get a lot more items, a lot more augments, and that way you can hit endgame. And this is like a viable path for all new players to actually obtain endgame gear. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably saying, Caro, if you want to hit 470 plus potency, you need the Radi augments, you need the Larze augments, you need all of these endgame expensive AC support items. Well, they're all coming back. So the 29th, so literally tomorrow, we are getting the AC support item select July 2025, which will bring back the Radi augments. I know the Radi augments have gone ballistic, you know, they're stupidly expensive. However, with this new surge of supply, the prices will go back down again into affordable ranges. So you'll be able to pick up your Radi augments tomorrow. And then on August 12th, we actually get another AC support. We're getting the extra AC support select, which will bring us the Larze augments back. So you'll be able to get them. And on top of that, they've actually doubled the drop rate for the parfait versions of the Larze augments. So, you know, if you are planning to scratch, hopefully you guys get a lot of them and you'll be able to sell them for a lot of money. And for my free-to-play players, you'll be able to purchase them as there's going to be a surge in supply, and so they'll be slightly more affordable. But for my budget players out there, remember, you do not need the parfaits, all right? The parfaits are a luxury item. So if you can't afford the parfait because it's like 10 million Meseta, you could always buy the cheaper version. Just buy the regular Larze augments, which only boost like 2 different potencies and increases like your guard or something. Those augments usually go for like 1 million, 2 million. So around that range, a lot more affordable. And if you're running out of money, don't forget, just farm the Ultra Realm over and over and over, because you're gonna get all those beta reactors, which you get 100,000 Meseta a pop. So, you know, if you spend a lot of time farming, and let's say you spend 2 weeks farming there, and then when these become available, you're gonna have a good chunk of money. Especially if you do your weeklies and your dailies every single day, basically, you're gonna be able to afford a lot of these high-end augments very easily. Now, on top of this, for my cash users, they're also adding in a prize slip on your 12th scratch. So basically, you're getting a selector ticket on 12 scratches, which is a lot better than the normal one, because the normal one required you to scratch like 40 times or something, which is kind of ridiculous. So now you can actually just get a selector in order to just pick the most expensive parfait and then sell it on the market or use it for yourself. All right. Now, there is also the SG support select, which is also coming in on August 12th. So yeah, hopefully you guys have saved up a ton of SG, because this scratch will give you a ton of enhancing preset skill items. So if you wanted to add a fixa or enhance the fixa and stuff like that, this is going to be very, very helpful, especially for your new armors and your new weapons. However, everything that we just covered is just the tip of the iceberg, as we do have the Super Fantasy Festival coming up. This kicks in on August 6th, so next week, not tomorrow. But there's a lot of freebies to look forward to. The very first one is 100 free AC pulls. So you get 10 free AC pulls every single day. Of course, there are some high value items, mainly the balloon bosoms, you know. We all like balloon bosoms. So if you do get lucky and you manage to get the balloon bosoms in your 100 free pulls, congratulations, you'll be able to use them. Now, other than that, of course, it's going to be the featured outfits that you can get for free. And that is Shiva's outfit as well as Luther's outfit, both in NGS spec. So they have been updated. They do look really, really good and really nice in NGS. For those who do not know who these characters are, I urge you to play the base game, because there's actually a campaign going on which rewards you with extra scratch tickets if you complete all 6 episodes in the base game. Now, I'm probably gonna go back to the base game in one of the live streams and try to figure out how to beat the base game by, like, as a fresh new player, because I do understand that the base game is a little bit overwhelming, especially for my new players out there or players who have never played the base game, because that game will absolutely kick your ass. Because the base game does not hold your hand, does not give you that much free gear, and you actually have to grind your ass off in order to make anything worthwhile. So it's going to be difficult. I do not think blasting through all 6 episodes is going to be like a 1 week thing. It's definitely going to take the majority of players 2 to 3 weeks, potentially even months, in order to complete it, as I do not think it's easy. Nevertheless, you know, that's something that is going on as well with the introduction of the Super Fantasy Festival. However, if we're just talking about NGS, you definitely want to get all these freebies, because all you have to do is just do all the limited time tasks as well as the new dailies and stuff like that. So there is going to be a super reward box where you can get a bunch of freebies. They're actually adding 50% more rewards into this. And then there's another Super Treasure Scratch Volume 10. I'm kind of screwed on Volume 9. As many of you guys know, I'm going to be missing out on one of those gold tickets. But you definitely want to make sure that you collect all of the items in this Super Treasure Scratch Volume 10, because you actually get the Shiva Pose 1 as a scratch count bonus, which is one of the coolest emotes. All right, you do not want to miss that one. Now, as for the reward box, that one gives you the loser emote, or the loser pose. I find it very funny that they're using the Japanese name and they're not calling it the Luther pose. They're just calling it straight up the loser pose. It has a lot of troll potential. It looks very, very ridiculous. So yeah, that's some food for thought. Now, for my base game players, they're also bringing back a lot of concerts that were only available in the base game, and they're bringing them into NGS, but in movie concert form, unfortunately. I got excited here for a second because I thought they actually were implementing like the actual concert, but no, it's just a movie concert which you can watch on the big screen TV, but it's still better than listening to Nadare sing the same song for like, 50 bajillion hours straight. So we are getting our fighting, we're getting Eternal Encore, War Arcs, Rare Drop Koi Koi, Endless Story, our fighting, Cosmic Twinkle Star, as well as the End of Light. So a lot of different varieties. So if you've never played the base game, that's definitely something to look forward to, as some of these concerts are really, really good, especially like Rare Drop Koi Koi. I really miss Rare Drop Koi Koi, especially in the base game where you could actually play the mini game and see your characters dancing on stage. Unfortunately, they're not implementing that, but hey, it's still a nice little thing to have in a movie version or movie concert. Now, as I said earlier, there is of course the PSO2 story playback campaign. So the reward is actually one price slip for each scratch ticket available in the PSO2 blocks. So when you go back into the base game, there are several AC and SG and random scratches, and you actually get one price slip, which is a selector ticket for every single scratch. So that is really, really awesome because you can literally just pick whatever item you want from the AC scratches there and carry it over into NGS. I recommend picking either weapon camos or accessories, as those don't look as bad when you bring them over to NGS. I would avoid picking outfits, as much as I do understand that some people really like certain outfits in the base game. But remember, those base outfits only work on the base PSO2 body type. You cannot use those outfits on NGS body types. So if you decide to pick any of those outfits and you bring it into NGS, it's not going to look as good because you're not going to be in high fidelity NGS body types. You're going to be using like the base game body type, which isn't as pleasing to the eye. So that is something to take note of. I would definitely take your time and test things out before spending any of these prize slips, but you are going to need to complete all 6 episodes, which will take some time. Now, another thing that they're also implementing is the End Meseta scratch. This is pretty interesting. It's sort of like a Meseta sync. However, in order to obtain these tickets, they're only obtainable through the treasure scratch. So you're going to need to go through the treasure scratch, spend your Meseta there to get these scratch tickets in order to spend it on the End Meseta scratch. So you can't just like dump a crap ton of Meseta into the scratch and get all the items immediately. So you are sort of time gated there. Now, other than that, we are also getting the use the salon to your heart's content. Really nice stuff. Again, Sega, please make this permanent. And we are getting an item enhancement support campaign, and every single week we get a bunch of freebies. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. Next up is, of course, the new mini episodes. Yes, we are getting new story. Not really new story, to be honest, because it's just talking to Crawford as well as Glenn, and they're just kind of reminiscing their past. Remember, they were a team of 3, and then the female character in their team like died from Darkfall's vial, or one of the Darkfalls killed her, and that's why they became the way they are. And so I'm hoping we get a little bit of backstory on who the hell that girl is. I think we just had a name drop and that was it. I don't really know who that character is, so hopefully this will give us a little bit more detail on that. Of course, since it is a Super Fantasy Festival, it's just going to be another seasonal event. There's going to be seasonal shops. There's going to be the Super Fantasy Festival SP scratches, or the special scratch tickets, which you can earn by running the limited time quests, as well as all of your dailies, as well as limited time tasks and stuff like that. And there's a lot of cool items to obtain. As I said earlier, the Shiva in NGS version, as well as Luther in NGS version, including Shiva's weapon, by the way. Shiva's weapon is also obtainable here. Her weapon is a must obtain. I recommend it to every player that you guys need to get her weapon, because her weapon looks absolutely insane. It has some crazy physics to it and is very particle heavy. You get to see some really flashy light shows when you pull it out of thin air and stuff. Now, other than that, Malevolent Darkfall's Vial is finally available in an urgent quest form. So for those who were not able to do the 4-man version, because you needed a lot of gear to do that, as it was incredibly difficult, difficult. It's now available in Urgent Quest form, so 8 players can participate, and everyone's going to be able to try Malevolent Darkfall's Vial. Remember, this is going to be the Urgent Quest version. It's going to be a lot easier compared to the 4-man version, as there is no death limit, the enemy's HP has been lowered, and it doesn't hurt as much. So for those who have not done this fight, you guys get to see all the different mechanics and see the fight itself, as it is really awesome. Now, this is also another way to farm for your crest weapons, which is, of course, the other 13-star rarity weapon. However, as I said earlier, since we have the new Legend 2 weapons and our Juvlog weapons are getting upgraded to their next tier, you might not want a crest weapon anymore. It's kind of in the air. We're going to need to see the stats of all of these weapons and do a comparison when they're all available in-game. I'll definitely try it out. You know, again, this doesn't come out until August 6th, which is next week, but you can technically already obtain a crest weapon if you can do the 4-man version, and it's also a rare drop in like the LTQs as well, Ultra Realm and stuff like that. Now remember that I said your Juvlog weapons will be upgradable. Now, in order to farm for all the materials needed to upgrade that weapon, you are going to need to farm the new limited time quest Cool Summer Dash. Now, this is actually a brand new LTQ built from scratch. It's not a rerun from what we've had years ago, which is actually pretty interesting. It's pretty cool. You know, we're finally getting quote-unquote new content. So I am very excited to do this. It is an 8-player LTQ, and it seems like you jump on hoverboards, you surf all over the place, and then you kill a bunch of enemies. So, you know, it's nothing crazy. It's still more or less within the realm of like normal. But nevertheless, I'm just happy to see a change in scenery and see something different that's not a rerun of previous LTQs. Now, something else that is super interesting is, of course, the new limited time trigger quest. So you are going to need triggers in order to run this, and it is a 4-player drill, and you'll be able to fight the Ruine Hyundal, which is actually pretty awesome. For those who played the base game, you might get Matoy flashbacks, hint hint, wink wink. But nevertheless, this battle, it seems pretty cool, and I am more than happy to do this. I don't know about the drops. We don't know if the drops are actually going to be good or not, but nevertheless, just being able to fight this boss is definitely pretty awesome. Now, if I hide my webcam over here, you can also see that rank 4, level 105, Trigger Quest Drill Mining Rig Defense Retem is also going to be available. However, we're going to pretend that that never existed, because who the heck cares about Mining Rig Defense? Now, other than that, there's literally like 7 pages of quality of life improvements, which are pretty awesome because, you know, the game could always improve and get better. And then there's also this page of a ton of text talking about there's 12 new cards in Line Strike. But as many of you guys know, I don't play Line Strike, so good luck, all my Line Strike players. Now, in the second half of August, we are also getting another limited time quest, Massive Machine Assault. This is something that I'm really looking forward to. It's another 8-player limited time quest. However, what's unique about this one is it reminds me of the base game a lot, especially in that factory map. I don't remember what that map is called, but nevertheless, there are a lot of enemies in this map that are from base game. And the main thing that I'm looking forward to in this quest is they say that every run is randomized. So you are going to need to play this multiple times in order to see all the different potential outcomes or all the different routes that you can take. Now, other than that, they are adding like 50 bajillion AC scratches, as many people predicted, because that's how they make money. So I can't blame them. But yeah, there's a lot of AC scratches. I think there's like 6 or 8 AC scratches or something, but there are some pretty nice items over here. I really like, in the stylish summer, I really like this outfit over here. Reminds me of Saja Boys from K-pop Demon Hunters, which is pretty funny. Last but not least, they did show off the next collaboration, which will be coming out in September, and that is, of course, Atelier Yumia. I did make a video about this before where they sort of self-leaked it themselves, and well, now they've confirmed it over here with in the NGS headline. So we are going to be getting Atelier Yumia in September. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.